become a millionaire.
Exactly. We need to focus on the principles behind the story, not just copy the actions. The source also talks about Oprah Winfrey, who's a big advocate for manifestation.
Oh, yeah. Oprah's talked about how visualizing and believing in herself played a role in her journey.
She has. She used to visualize herself interviewing amazing people and hosting her own show way before it actually happened.
And look at her now. One of the most successful and influential women in the world. Talk about manifesting your dreams.
Her story shows what can happen when you align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with your deepest desires. But even with these incredible examples, it's important to remember that just because someone experienced it doesn't mean it's scientific proof that it works.
Right. Jim Carrey and Oprah's stories are amazing, but they don't prove that manifestation works for everyone, every time.
Exactly. It's about approaching this topic with balance, acknowledging both the potential and the limitations. We need to think critically, not just blindly believe.
So while these stories can inspire us and make us believe it's possible, we also need to be realistic and understand that what one person experiences isn't always a universal truth.
Precisely. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about gratitude.
Ah, yes. Gratitude is often overlooked, but it's such a powerful practice, not just for manifestation, but for overall happiness.
Exactly. Gratitude is about appreciating what we already have. When we focus on the good things in our lives, it's like sending a message to the universe that we have abundance, that we're ready to receive even more good things.
It's like we're prepping ourselves for more abundance to flow in.
Exactly. And the opposite is true too. If we're always focused on what we don't have, we're sending out a message of scarcity, which can block that abundance from coming in.
So gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's a powerful tool for manifestation.
Mm.
But how do we cultivate gratitude when we're feeling down or discouraged? It's easy when things are going great, but what about those tough times?
That's a great question. And it's true. Finding things to be grateful for when you're down can be hard. It's like trying to find a ray of sunshine in a thunderstorm. But that's exactly when it's most powerful.
So how do we shift our perspective when we're stuck in a negative mindset? How do we find those silver linings when all we see are storm clouds?
It starts with a willingness to look for the good, even when it's hidden. Remembering that even in tough times, there are always things to be thankful for.
It's about training our minds to focus on the light, even when things feel dark. What are some practical tips for cultivating gratitude, especially when we're just not feeling it?
One good practice is keeping a gratitude journal. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for, big or small. It could be something as simple as a cup of coffee, a warm bed, a beautiful sunset.
It's like making a mental list of all the good things to help us shift our focus away from what we're lacking. What if we're struggling to even think of 3 things?
That's okay. Start small. Even one thing is a step in the right direction. Another powerful practice is telling the people in our lives how much we appreciate them.
You mean like telling our loved ones how much they mean to us?
Exactly. Expressing gratitude strengthens our relationships and reinforces our own feelings of abundance and appreciation.
It's like we're spreading those good vibes, both inside and out. But what about when we're facing really tough stuff, like a serious illness or losing someone we love? How can we be grateful in the middle of that kind of pain?
That's a tough one. I don't want to downplay the real pain people experience in those situations. But even in the darkest times, there are often glimmers of light to be found.
You mean like moments of connection, acts of kindness, or even just realizing we're still here, still breathing?
Exactly. It's not about denying the pain. It's about choosing to focus on those little bits of light, no matter how small they might seem.
It's finding the strength to say, even though this hurts, I'm still grateful for. And then fill in the blank with whatever feels true in that moment.
Exactly. Sometimes those moments of gratitude can be what helps us get through, what keeps us afloat during the storm.
So it's not about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring our pain. It's about making a choice to focus on the good, even when things are tough.
Precisely. And it's also important to remember that gratitude isn't about comparing ourselves to others.
Oh, I know what you mean. It's so easy to look at other people, especially on social media, and compare our lives to theirs.
It is, isn't it? But comparing ourselves to others just steals our joy.
So true. And it can mess up our manifestation efforts, too. When we're always comparing, we focus on what we lack, and that creates a sense of scarcity, which can block abundance from coming into our lives.
Exactly. Gratitude is about appreciating our own unique journey and recognizing the blessings we already have, regardless of what other people might have.
It's about being content and finding joy in the present moment, instead of always chasing after what we think we're missing. But what about people who say, if manifestation is real, why are so many people still struggling and suffering? Why isn't everyone living their dream life?
That's a valid question, and it brings up some important points. First, remember, manifestation isn't a magic wand that grants every wish. It's a process, a journey, and like any journey, there will be ups and downs, twists and turns.
It's about navigating the challenges, not avoiding them.
Exactly. We also need to consider that people are at different levels of consciousness and awareness. Some people might naturally be more in tune with the principles of manifestation than others.
You mean like some people might have a stronger belief in their own ability to create their reality, while others might be more prone to self-doubt and limitations?
Exactly. Some people might be really good at visualizing or feeling their desires, while others might struggle with that. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Right, we all have our own strengths and challenges.
And we can't ignore the systemic factors that can affect our ability to manifest what we want. Things like social class, race, gender, and access to education can all play a role in shaping our experiences and limiting our potential.
So while manifestation can be a powerful tool for personal empowerment, it's not a solution for injustice or inequality in the world.
Exactly. And we also have to accept that sometimes, even if we try our best, things just don't work out how we wanted. Life throws us curveballs, and those can derail even the best plans.
That's where acceptance comes in, right? Accepting that we don't always control the outcomes in our lives.
Precisely. It's not about giving up or resigning ourselves to a life of misery. It's about acknowledging the reality of the situation and finding a way to move forward with grace and resilience.
So it's not about controlling everything. It's about embracing the journey, learning from our experiences, and trusting that even in the midst of setbacks, we can still create something beautiful and meaningful.
Beautifully said. Now, another question that comes up is how to balance our desires for personal fulfillment with our responsibilities to others, to the world as a whole.
Ah, yes. The classic dilemma. Self-interest versus doing good for others. How do we make sure our pursuit of happiness doesn't hurt other people or the planet?
It starts with recognizing that our own well-being is deeply connected to the well-being of everything around us. We can't truly thrive in isolation. Our happiness and fulfillment depend on the health of our relationships, our communities, and the natural world.
It's not an either situation. It's about understanding that personal fulfillment and social responsibility go hand in hand.
Exactly. And when we approach manifestation from that perspective, we naturally start aligning our desires with the greater good.
So instead of just focusing on getting rich or being successful, we might also think about how we can use our skills and resources to make a positive impact on the world.
Precisely. We might ask ourselves, how can I use my abilities to contribute to something bigger than myself? Or how can I create abundance in a way that benefits me and the community?
It's about shifting our focus from me to we, not just what we can get, but what we can give.
Exactly. And that shift can make a huge difference in our manifestation efforts. When we align our wants with the greater good, we're tapping into a more powerful energy. We're not just manifesting for ourselves anymore, we're doing it for everyone, for making the world a good place.
That's beautiful. It's like our individual desires become stronger when they're in sync with a larger purpose.
And that leads to another important thing to consider when we're talking about manifestation.
Okay, I'm listening. What is it?
Addressing the fear that if we focus too much on what we want, we'll become selfish or greedy.
It's a common worry, especially in a culture that often values individual achievement and material wealth above all else.
But true fulfillment isn't about collecting a bunch of stuff or getting praise from others. It's about living a life that's aligned with our values, passions, and purpose.
So it's not about being self-centered. It's about becoming more fully who we truly are. And when we're living authentically, we naturally become more compassionate and giving people.
Exactly. When we're fulfilled and content, we're less likely to feel threatened by other people's success or hoard resources out of fear. We're more likely to share, support others, and do good in the world.
So it's not about choosing between personal happiness and being kind. It's about realizing that true happiness leads to more generosity and compassion.
Precisely. And remember, manifestation isn't about getting everything we want at the expense of others. It's about working together with the universe, trusting that our desires will be fulfilled in a way that's good for everyone.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected, and our actions have a ripple effect that goes far beyond ourselves.
Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial element of successful manifestation: belief.
Ah, yes. Belief is the fuel that powers the whole manifestation engine. But what exactly do we need to believe in?
First and foremost, we have to believe in ourselves. We need to believe we're worthy, that we're capable, that we have the power to create the life we want.
It's about having faith in our potential, even when we haven't seen our dreams come true yet.
Exactly. It's about trusting that we can achieve amazing things, even if we've messed up in the past or faced setbacks.
It's about silencing that inner critic that tells us we're not good enough or that our dreams are too big.
Precisely. And besides believing in ourselves, we also need to believe in the power of the universe or whatever higher power resonates with us.
You mean trusting that there's a force greater than ourselves that's on our side, guiding us toward what's best for us?
Exactly. It's having faith that even when we can't see the whole picture, there's something bigger at work, orchestrating events and helping things fall into place to support our journey.
It's about letting go of the need to control everything and surrendering to the wisdom of the universe.
Exactly. And when we combine those two beliefs, belief in ourselves and belief in something bigger, that creates a really strong foundation for manifestation.
It's like tapping into a limitless source of power and potential.
Precisely. But as you might imagine, there's often something that gets in the way of developing belief.
And that would be,
Doubt. That little voice that whispers, what if it doesn't work? Or what if I'm not good enough?
oh, I know that voice well. It can be so sneaky, especially when it pretends to be rational or cautious.
Exactly. We tell ourselves, I'm just being realistic. But honestly, doubt usually comes from fear and those limiting beliefs we've picked up over time.
So how do we fight doubt? How do we silence that inner critic and build a stronger sense of belief?
It starts with just noticing those doubts when they pop up, without judging yourself or being critical.
It's realizing that doubt is a normal human experience, but it doesn't have to control us.
Exactly. And once we see those doubts, we can start to question them. Ask ourselves, is this doubt based on facts or is it just a scary story I'm telling myself?
And often when we really look at our doubts, we see they're not as solid or rational as they seemed at first. They're like shadows, big and scary in the dark, but they disappear when we shine a light on them.
What a great analogy. And once we've challenged those doubts, we can start replacing them with more empowering beliefs.
So it's about making a conscious choice to focus on thoughts and affirmations that support our goals instead of dwelling on the ones that hold us back.
Exactly. And remember, building belief is an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time fix. It's a daily practice of choosing faith over fear, trust over doubt.
It's about consistently choosing to focus on the positive, affirming our worthiness, and trusting that the universe is there to support our dreams.
Beautifully said. Now, a question that often comes up, especially for people new to manifestation, is whether it's okay to manifest material things like money or possessions.
Yes. That old question of whether it's spiritual to want material things.
And it usually comes from a misunderstanding of what real abundance is. There's nothing wrong with wanting comfort or security. It's natural to want to feel financially safe and have the resources to enjoy life.
It's not about pretending we don't have human needs or that money doesn't matter.
Exactly. And money can be a powerful tool for making positive change. We can use it to support causes we care about, invest in ethical businesses, and create opportunities for others.
So the issue isn't money itself, it's how we relate to it and what we do with it.
Precisely. If we approach manifestation from a place of alignment and integrity, we can manifest material abundance that benefits us and the world around us.
It's not about getting rich for selfish reasons. It's about using our resources to make the world a fairer and more just place.
Exactly. And real abundance isn't just about possessions. It's also about having a lot of love, joy, peace, and fulfillment in our lives.
It's about cultivating that inner richness that goes beyond material wealth.
Well said. But even when we have the best intentions, there are times when we might feel stuck, wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working?
It's frustrating when we feel like we're doing everything right, but we don't see the results. Like we're following a recipe, but the cake just won't rise.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that manifestation isn't a straight line. It's not a simple formula where we do A, B, and C, and then D automatically happens.
More like a dance, right?
Right.
There's a flow, an ebb and flow, and sometimes we need to change our steps or the music.
Exactly. There are so many things involved: our beliefs, emotions, actions, the universe's timing, even just plain old luck.
So what can we do when we hit a wall? How do we fix things when our manifestation efforts seem to be going nowhere?
We'll start by going back to the basics. Revisit those steps we talked about, being clear about what we want, visualizing, affirming, taking action, and surrendering to the process.
Making sure we haven't missed anything or gotten complacent. Like checking the recipe to see if we forgot an important ingredient.
Exactly. It's also important to look at our beliefs. Are there any limiting beliefs that might be sabotaging us?
Like beliefs about whether we deserve it or whether we can actually achieve our goals.
Precisely. If we find those limiting beliefs, we can start challenging them and changing them.
So it's about doing some inner work to clear out those mental blocks that might be holding us back. Like weeding a garden to give our desires space to grow.
Exactly. And remember, manifestation is a journey, not a destination. It's about enjoying the process of growing and expanding, not just fixating on the end result.
It's about enjoying each step of the dance, not just waiting for the final bow.
Exactly. And sometimes those detours and unexpected turns in the road lead us to even greater discoveries and blessings than we could have imagined.
So it's about trusting the journey, even when it doesn't go exactly as planned. It's about being open to the possibility that the universe might have something even better in store.
Beautifully said. And remember, we're not in this alone. We have a huge network of support friends, family, mentors, spiritual guides, and the universe itself.
So if we're struggling, we can reach out for help. We don't have to figure it all out by ourselves.
Exactly. And sometimes just talking to someone who believes in us or who has been successful with manifestation can be exactly what we need to keep going.
It's like having a cheerleader in our corner, reminding us of how strong and capable we are.
Precisely. And remember, manifestation isn't about being perfect. It's not about doing everything right or never making mistakes.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. It's about learning, growing, and evolving as we go.
So it's okay to make mistakes, to fall short, to adjust our course along the way.
Absolutely. The important thing is to keep moving forward, to keep believing in ourselves and the power of the universe to help us achieve our dreams.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to go back to something we talked about before, the idea that manifestation is a collaboration between us and the universe.
Ah, yes, the concept of co-creation.
Exactly. Can you tell me more about that? What does it really mean to co-create with the universe?
Well, it starts with recognizing that we're not separate from the universe. We're not alone trying to manipulate things to get what we want.
We're part of a massive interconnected web of energy and consciousness.
Precisely. And when we understand that connection, we start to see that manifestation isn't about forcing our will on the universe. It's about aligning our energy with the natural flow of things.
It's like surrendering to a higher power, trusting that the universe knows what's best, even if we don't see it yet.
Exactly. And when we surrender to that, we open ourselves up to possibilities we could never have imagined on our own.
It's like we're joining a cosmic dance, letting the universe lead us towards our greatest potential.
Beautifully said. And just like in any dance, there are times when we need to lead and times when we need to follow.
So how do we know when to lead and when to follow in this cosmic dance of manifestation?
Well, it comes down to intuition and being able to tell the difference. When we feel inspired and energized to take action, when opportunities pop up and we feel excited and in alignment with things, that's our signal to take the lead.
It's that go for it feeling, like your gut saying, this is the right move.
Exactly. But there are also those times when we got to step back, let go a little, trust the process, let the universe do its thing behind the scenes.
So how do we know when it's time to switch to that following mode?
Well, when you hit obstacles or there are delays you just can't control, you're feeling frustrated.
Yeah.
That's often a sign to ease up on the reins a bit,
Yeah.
let go of trying to force things and have faith that the universe is working things out for you, even if you don't see the whole picture just yet.
It's about trusting the universe's timing, believing that things will happen when they're supposed to.
Right. And that can be hard,
Oh, no.
Especially these days, everything's so fast-paced, we want everything right now.
Instant gratification.
Exactly. But sometimes the best things come when we least expect them, when we've let go of those strict timelines we have in our heads.
Like the universe surprises us.
Exactly. And that's where the real magic of working with the universe happens, in that surrender, the trust, being willing to let go and let the universe work its magic.
That's a really cool way to think about it. So it's about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Between taking action when it feels right and surrendering when things are out of our control. Trusting that the universe is always on our side, even when we can't see it.
Exactly. That's what co-creation is all about.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. The basics of manifestation, the practices, the potential traps to watch out for, and all those amazing possibilities.
It's been a real deep dive.
It has. And before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
That was good.
So, is manifestation real? Well, like we've talked about, it's complicated. There's science that backs up some of it, but it's not like a genie in a bottle.
It's not just wishing and hoping or sitting around daydreaming. It's about making those thoughts, beliefs, and actions all work together towards what